My last video on the upcoming Cornwall update was 3 weeks ago, and since then, 4 has released even more sneak peeks. At first, these previews might look like much, a station, a depot and a train. But when you actually look closer, they reveal a lot where British Rail is heading with 1.4.2. So let's take a look at what these previews could mean. The first sneak peek we got is Griffin Station. Now, at first glance, this might just seem like a small station. There's no huge landmark, no massive terminus, this is just a simple 2-platform station. But honestly, these smaller locations can sometimes reveal just as much about an update as the big ones. Griffin appears to be a small station, which actually makes sense for Cornwall. A lot of the real Cornish stations are not massive intercity stations. There are smaller stations surrounded by countryside and hills, and one thing I've noticed about Griffin is the station entrance. It isn't just the same basic design we've seen on some of the smaller stations before, it has its own style, which helps to make the location feel more unique. Another interesting detail is the landscape around the station. Griffin appears to be built lower than the surrounding area, with hills around the railway and what looks like the track passing underneath a bridge when leaving the station. And this is something that makes Cornwall interesting. The railway isn't a straight piece of track going through a flat map. Real Cornwall has hills, valleys, bridges, and a difficult terrain. So adding these details make the route feel much more realistic and less like a simple roadblocks railway line. The second sneak peek gave us our first look at Short Rock TMD. Now I know what some people might be thinking, oh, it's just a depot, why is this exciting? And honestly, fair enough. A depot is probably not as eye-catching as a new station or a brand new train, but this preview might actually tell us a lot about the direction of 1.4.2. In the preview we can see a Voyager in the cross-country livery alongside a Class 150, as well as 4 tracks inside the depot itself. Something else that stands out is the scenery around the depot. Even though it's just a maintenance facility, the coastal landscape looks impressive and shows the amount of detail 4 are putting into this extension. The important thing about Short Rock TMD is that it shows the developers aren't just adding more tracks and stations, they are also adding the infrastructure needed to make this feel like a real railway, even though it's kind of like inspired by, the Cornish main line, innit? Short Rock TMD appears to be inspired by Long Rock TMD near Penzance, which is an important depot for railway operations in Cornwall. Including something like this makes the route feel less like a line connecting stations and more like an actual railway network. And this could be one of the biggest themes of 1.4.2, expanding Cornwall itself rather than focusing on adding more trains. The next preview revealed a Class 175 at Griffin, giving us our first look at one of the trains expected to operate on the new route. The preview also gave us a much better view of Griffin Station, which honestly looks really nice. Now when I first saw the train, I thought it was a Class 43. My brain clearly needed a few seconds to load the correct train. But looking closer, it's clearly a Class 175. Another interesting thing about this preview is the landscape. I was right about this section of the route being more built into the terrain. From the preview, it looks like the railway could be passing through more bridges, cut-ins, and possibly even tunnels further down. The Class 175 also appears to be heading back towards Britain, which gives us another clue about how services could operate on this extension, and further supports that this new section is continuing beyond Britain. Overall, these previews suggest that British Railway 1.4.2 is becoming more than just a map extension. 4 seem to be focusing on building a proper railway environment with stations, infrastructure, and make the Cornwall extension feel like a real part of the network. Of course, we don't know everything that's coming, but these sneak peeks have definitely made the update look much bigger than it appeared. Anyway, that's everything we know so far about the Cornwall update. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.